I don't want to, and we're gonna combine some issues, but the town hall meeting issue is going to be separate, and I will address it separately. And then the comp plan issue is separate, and I will address it specifically. Two things to begin with respect to the article. I don't know that anyone has done their homework, obviously, to understand that the new comprehensive plan lowers our density by 30% from the previous plan. And to throw things like accommodating population explosion and other things, the comp plan restricts the floodgates. R1, we will have the highest lot size and continue to have the highest lot size for R1. So the new comp plan restricts the floodgates, does not increase it. And I'd like to talk about credibility. I received a letter from someone on D Court, and I'll just leave that. And this is the letter, and it was almost like upside down day. He said, there needs to be more transparency in the zoning process. We currently have unseen and unelected bureaucrats trying to change our zoning codes without our permission in a manner which I call social engineering. Although Melissa Cleveland is the public face of the zoning commission, we need to know who is reporting to her. We need to put names and faces on those city employees who are trying to rezone our neighborhoods. You have an agenda. I smile because this is just opposite. You have an agenda called Reimagine Hayden. It's not true, but that's okay. I really don't like that idea. I like Hayden just the way it is. That's why I moved here from Washington State, to get away from unelected bureaucrats, socialist pipe dreams. And they lived on D Court. And I just smile because the letter that I received is exactly the type of transparency that we're asking for. That, where that individual lives, he or she or they thought that it was R1. It wasn't. It was mixed use, and they received a letter to telling them that the zoning for their home was what it was and that they should go to R1. I mean, so I shake my head sometimes at the opposite information that's out there. Those letters that were sent out by Melissa and team were clarifications as to zoning requirements. They had nothing to do with any, what did you say? The city is not soliciting, this is my response to you, the city is not soliciting zone changes. The 1,750 letters were for clarification on existing zoning. The comprehensive plan confuses, it has nothing to do with population and zoning. It doesn't, and I'll get to zoning and density in a minute, because obviously one city council member and others might not understand the difference between population and zoning. But with respect to the town meeting, the focus of this town meeting in my mind was to listen to questions from Hayden citizens and to respond to concerns with respect to the comprehensive plan. For 2 years, numerous public hearings took place. Hundreds of citizens provided specific feedback. Their input was important to the creation and implementation of the 4 plans. I don't know any city in my history, my mind, that has done 4 plans at the same time so they can integrate properly. Our goal for the town hall meeting was to provide information to those who did not take part in those public hearings. I was pleased to provide as mayor a forum for discourse and an exchange of fact. In my opinion, based upon emails, social media postings, and newspaper articles, that others have decided to use this meeting for political fear-mongering and personal attacks with the goal to simply eliminate any resemblance of the town meeting. And I believe that. Ladies and gentlemen, I have read them, and I will give you some examples. Citizens have every right to express their views, and they should. D-Day observance was Sunday, and I've been there. Those people fought for freedoms and liberties, and the ability to express our views is inherent in that. But as mayor, a few weeks ago, asked the city council to consider a public town hall meeting. No vote was needed, and discussions were made to proceed. Based upon the feedback that I've read, I am disappointed in the actions of some people in the community and would like to recommend that no meeting take place. People that have genuine questions concerning the comprehensive plans can schedule appointments, as well as they should, so that all of these actions can be transparent, and staff has been open to that. All council members approved the 4 comprehensive plans. Citizens' input over the past years and input from experts have helped us to plan for the future. Citizens need to know that over the past years, barriers and constraints have been and will continue to be utilized to ensure that responsible growth based upon sewer, traffic, and education needs will continue to be met. Many requested projects have not been approved by planning and zoning or the city council due to various concerns over the years. Talk about a population explosion. In the last 10 years, in 2011, our population increased by 0.6%. In 2012, 1.1%. 2013, 1.18%. 2014, 1.5%. 2015, 1.18%. 2016, 2.78%. 2017, 3.7%. 2018, 2.35%. 2019, 2.4%. 2020, 2.2%. And the average growth year by year, 1.9%. It is not a population explosion. It's responsible and healthy growth. As the city population increased over 9 years by 14%, I did each annual year, housing stock only increased by 6%. My focus and background is finance, accounting, and economics. Well, if population increases, but housing stock is increasing at a lower rate, then you're gonna have a supply and demand issue. It's pure and simple, and it's gonna cause an increase in prices that we've seen. 80% of the housing in Hayden is single family, 10% mobile homes, 5% missing middle housing, duplexes, townhomes, and the remaining 5% are standard apartment dwellings. It already exists. The new comprehensive plan will make it even more difficult and restrictive and limit the areas with which growth will occur. But remember, we haven't had this influx or growth, uncontrolled growth of multifamily. It hasn't happened. I don't anticipate it happening. There's too many constraints and barriers to allow density like that to occur. And again, the new comprehensive plan reduces density by 30%. In comparing our city with Garden City and Mountain Home, Garden City and Mountain Home both have lower population or percentage of single family. We're at 80%, they're at 62 and 73. And from a state average, we have a higher percentage of single family homes. We have lower vacancy rates and a lower percentage of rentals than any of the cities that we're compared to. The comp plan pointed to, and this is what's really interesting, the comp plan itself pointed to needing more missing middle and apartment dwelling units, not to change the character of Hayden, but to alleviate some of the stresses on locals that low housing stock and a lack of variety cause. Councilmember Roetter asked how to pay for it. One of the things that has been very frustrating to me is the limits on fees, impact fees that we could charge, and there was some, hopefully, change in that, because at present, park impact fees and road impact fees are very specific and won't give us the opportunity to take care of existing issues. Hopefully, the change in legislature will allow that to occur, and Joy Richards asked a question, and she did her homework on state constraints with respect to cities. And was able to identify, I think in a very real way, that cities' ability to be able to pay for growth or allow growth to pay for itself had to do with the ability of impact fees to be able to be utilized. And again, for the record, I do not know why our state legislature felt like though growth needed to pay for itself, they would reduce the amount of money cities can use with respect to new growth, so that we're even in worse shape than we were before. Please note that the letters that were sent out to the city for the most part, were due to, well, excuse me, part of the building that took place prior, and I'll use D Court if that's okay for an example. R1 was put into multifamily so that the lots would be smaller. And we wanted those people that lived on D Court and others to understand that their lots were smaller than what was intended for R1. And that if necessary, R1 can be utilized with respect to those smaller lots from a grandfathering standpoint, but we still want lots in the city of Hayden to be larger. With respect to personal attacks, and this is something I wanted to address, it appears that communications deliberately focused on why a Hayden planning director was brought in to the Planning and Zoning Commission for Dalton Gardens and implied, and this sickened me, and implied that the individual was appointed to find a way to change the zoning to facilitate some form of growth. So not appropriate and not factual. This individual volunteered in a difficult situation to be able to do whatever he or she could do to be able to assist in a city that's having real internal issues. And that comment and others like it helped me to understand that even though I wanted to listen and learn, that it seems like this has taken off to a whole nother level. And fact and questions were irrelevant. We have amazing experts who work for the citizens of Hayden. These are true professionals who do not have any hidden agendas. There is no conflict of interest. To imply such is wrong and inappropriate. Subjecting these good people to comments that are untrue, misleading, and wrong is unfair to them and to those that they serve. I would now like to address the opinion piece published in the Coeur d'Alene Press today